Khrushchev and de-Stalinization, 1953 to 1964. Death of Stalin, 1953. Stalin's death in 1953 led to a power struggle and eventually the leadership of Nikita Khrushchev. De-Stalinization. Khrushchev initiated a process of de-Stalinization, denouncing Stalin's purges and personality cult in his secret speech of 1956. He also relaxed some of the repressive policies and promoted a less centralized economy. The Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. Tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union peaked during the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the Soviet Union deployed nuclear missiles in Cuba, bringing the world to the brink of nuclear war. The crisis ended with a negotiated agreement to remove the missiles. Space race. The Soviet Union led the early years of the space race, achieving major milestones, including the launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957, the first artificial satellite, and the first human spaceflight by Yuri Gagarin in 1961. Brezhnev era, 1964 to 1982. Leadership of Leonid Brezhnev. After Khrushchev was ousted in 1964, Leonid Brezhnev became the Soviet leader. Brezhnev's rule was characterized by political stability, but also stagnation in terms of economic growth, technological innovation, and political freedoms. Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, 1979. The Soviet Union intervened militarily in Afghanistan in 1979 to support a pro-Soviet government facing an insurgency. This became a costly and unpopular conflict, akin to the U.S. involvement in Vietnam. Détente and the arms race. During the 1970s, the U.S. and the USSR engaged in détente, a period of eased tensions. However, the arms race continued, and both countries developed large stockpiles of nuclear weapons. Gorbachev and the end of the Soviet Union, 1985 to 1991. Mikhail Gorbachev's reforms. Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union in 1985. He introduced reforms such as glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, to address economic stagnation and promote political transparency. These reforms led to greater freedom of speech, a more open media, and a relaxation of the one-party rule, but also opened the door for greater political instability. Fall of the Berlin Wall, 1989. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the collapse of communist regimes in Eastern Europe, which signaled the decline of Soviet power in the region. The August coup, 1991. Hardline Communist Party members attempted a coup to remove Gorbachev from power. The coup failed, but it further weakened Gorbachev's authority and accelerated the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Dissolution of the Soviet Union, 1991. On December 25, 1991, Gorbachev resigned as the president of the Soviet Union. The next day, the USSR was officially dissolved, and the republics that made up the Union became independent states. Russia emerged as the largest and most influential successor state. Legacy of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union's legacy is mixed. On one hand, it was a global superpower that contributed to the defeat of Nazi Germany, led space exploration, and was a leader in industrial and scientific advancements. On the other hand, the Soviet Union was responsible for widespread repression, millions of deaths, and economic inefficiencies, ultimately leading to its collapse. The transition from Soviet rule to post-Soviet states involved economic hardship, political instability, and regional conflicts. Today, Russia and other former Soviet republics continue to grapple with the legacy of Soviet governance.